So I came up with this equation based off of Einstein's theory of relativity, which is E equals mc squared, which we're all familiar with. We're going to go back to high school physics for a minute.
Okay.
But I call it the theory of volatility. How volatile are you when energy affects you? So E is energy. That's our own. That's energy from people, environments, technology. Now we're at the M. M is my management or my mismanagement of that energy. And now we're at C squared equals my calm or my chaos. So very simply stated, energy coming into me or existing within me, how I manage or mismanage that energy determines my calm or my chaos.
Hello there, this is Kevin Pennell, and welcome to episode 151 of Toward a Better Life.
The silver moon lay upon the black water that covered the lake. She stepped over storms and walked down to the shallows to ask the bright lady what path she should take. And the silver light crept into all the dark places, into her heart and into her mind. Storm clouds will gather, the moon will be waiting. Come drink from the cauldron to see what you'll find. Deep in the silence of snow-covered mountains, down to the valley, a glitter with frost. In the depth of the night, she searched for the tinder to try and rekindle the embers she'd lost. But the fire had died and the flames were all ashes. The rose and the briar no longer entwined. Somewhere there's a dream that's suspended in amber, and the scar on her heart will be there for all time. Drops of rain gather on the hot, cold, bare branches. Weather the storm, and your leaves turn to rust. Sing into the wind and cast words to the ether. Dance in the passion, then choke on the dust. A new story has risen, but who writes the ending? There's thorns in the heart, and there's storms in the head. Fingers would dance across a cold fretboard. The lyrics were there, but the music had fled. Many winters have passed, and summer comes bringing warmth and a start to a new melody. Shining notes scribbled across the soft vellum. Words written in tears will sketch new memories. A soul slick with heartbreak lays on the dark pavement. The track back up the mountain has been a harsh climb. Only the gods know the length of the journey. The wind whispers there's no going backward same time. The dragonfly danced across the blue water, across the blue water that covered the lake. She stepped over storms and walked down to the shallows to ask the bright lady what path she should take. No point gathering thread to mend what was broken, or remember the feel of that final embrace. The bright lady's beside you, the full moon will guide you. The story is over and the ending has changed.
That was Spiral Dance with Dark Night of the Soul, as we welcome in the winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. As always, a link in the show notes will lead you to more downloading and purchasing opportunities for music from Spiral Dance. And noteworthy, all music on the program is used by permission from the artist. Thank you, dear listener, for tuning in to the episode as we shift some energies coming our way with the winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. We can remember the longest night of the year prepares and prompts us to go within toward deeper awareness and introspection. The Southern Hemisphere looks to the summer solstice and longest day and, peak of growth times, but both times flow with the natural rhythm of life and the flow of life to ultimately aim toward balance. And with balance comes harmony, compassion, kindness on different levels, personally, culturally, and spiritually, as you've heard me say. But it does begin with each one of us as an individual. So, with that thought in mind, as I always say, it's what I like to share on the podcast from around the world, seeking others of the same spirit, heart, and mind. And like a school that teaches us to be better, well, it should, and it helps us guide our spirits and on the way to becoming true human beings. That continues a journey toward wholeness and harmony, not only for ourselves, but the generations yet to come. Also offer the opportunity, as always, to share your prose, music, poetry, or storytelling to the show, and please do continue to send that my way to kevin@towardaBetterLife.com, and we'll certainly have a listen and maybe put it on the show. Please subscribe to the program if you haven't done so already through your favorite podcast platform, and keep following us for weekly magical insights into earth-based spirituality, self-development, and self-care. Also, remember to support the program by leaving your review on Apple, Spotify podcast, whatever platform you might use to listen to your podcast. It only takes a moment to leave a review, and it means so much for the algorithms and drives other folks, and invites other folks to listen to the program. Do visit my website, too, towardaBetterLife.com, where you can contact me to learn more about your free discovery call to help you on your journey, along with prior episodes, learning opportunities, and services that I offer outside the podcast, plus a few accessories to help you on your own journey. Contact me again through my website or send inquiries to kevin@towardaBetterLife.com. I'm welcoming Rachael Schmidt to the program today. She's an author of Common Sixth Sense. And Rachael is a mindfulness-based self-development coach, mentor, and educator with more than 20 years of experience helping people awaken to their fullest potential. She's worked with teenagers, Fortune 500 leaders, and everyone in between, guiding them to live more authentic and connected lives. Schmidt teaches mindfulness integration at the graduate level and is the founder of the consultancy Common Sixth. You can learn more about her and her work through her website, commonsixthsense.com. And we're going to go deep within in this episode, examining our sixth sense as we look at the winter solstice. Rachael will be sharing her secret formula for nurturing our sixth sense. On this episode of Toward a Better Life, I want to welcome Rachael Schmidt to the program. Rachael, how are you and where are you located?
I am fantastic, and I am in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida.
Great. That's a good place to be. So, Rachael has some really cool stuff that we want to talk about today. And one of the things that we're going to be talking mostly about is her book. But before we get into the book, Rachael, what I'd like to do is if you could just give us a little background about Rachael and your journey and kind of what you do.
Well, I have been a mindfulness-based self-development coach, educator, mentor for over 20 years. So
Hmm.
always had this innate passion for wanting to help people connect with themselves, with each other, with the world and beyond, whatever it is they want to connect with. So am very passionate and committed to helping people reach their self-connection goals and elevate their life. But I lived in 5 states. I grew up in Boulder, Colorado, and we've moved around, but we've been here in Florida for 5 years. Back in Florida, we lived here before once as well, and this is my place. I love the sunshine and the ocean and the casualness of it all. It's a beautiful place to be in my current life.
Cool. So, the book. Let's talk about what's the title of your book. I love the title. I'm going to let you talk about it.
So the title is Common Sixth Sense: Unleash Your Most Authentic, Connected Life.
Wow. That's that says it all. That says exactly where I like to go with this stuff anyway. As you mentioned, because you listened to some episodes yourself of Toward a Better Life. But common sixth sense, I really like the idea when we do this of synchronicity. And the synchronicity kicks in for me anyway, because just within the past, it's either this morning or yesterday, I was reading in some information that I get, and they're talking about how oh, I know what it was. I think it was maybe the New York Times had talked about something that, there are some common misconceptions of terminology that's used out there, and one of the things is that there are five senses, and they said that's very limited, and we have far more senses, far many more senses than five. They even talked about 20, and I'm going, really? So I'm happy with six, so we have that ability to tap into the ethers and tap into our inner selves a little bit more, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I would say if 20 feels overwhelming, just start with the sixth. My department, which is, we came with these incredible innate resources built in. They are
Hmm.
not only part of us, they are who we are as beings, and they are very, very underutilized. And so my goal is to help people extract those innate abilities and start using them to their advantage so that they can elevate their life and start living with more peace, more connection, more authenticity.
So, what are some of the ways that we can kind of move in and understand our sixth sense and tap into that? Because there are so many bits of information out there today about, going for the authentic self, and we want to get in deeper to some things. But sometimes, if someone is not acquainted with that, it can be maybe a frightening experience for them, or maybe they're a little unsure about that. Or some people will say, oh, that's just plain woo-woo. There's no such thing as that. So let's start off with how do you connect with your sixth sense, would you say? Because I agree, it's an innate ability, but how do you think we do that?
Yeah. I think part of it is starting to understand that there is a beautiful orchestra of communication happening. And when we think about the voices within us, we think about our mind, our ego voice. We think about our heart voice that can give us really mixed messages. It has good intentions, but sometimes can mislead us. And we think about our gut voice, our intuitive voice, as being a third voice. A fourth voice is our body. All the messages, that our body is sending us every day. And then we think about external voices, people, environments, technology. So if you imagine all these voices talking to you all the time, we've got to be able to decipher where the messaging is coming from.
Mm.
So when we think about our intuitive, innate voice, our intuition, that is a voice of clarity. That is a voice that keeps us on track, that always guides us down the right path, that directs us if we get misdirected. So when we want to tap into that intuitive voice, we first want to identify it. So that is something that people can begin to do daily, is to become aware of what voice is sharing this message with me. Is it, for example, my body? Is it a reoccurring negative thought that I have? And start to dissect, if you will, to explore, to get curious, to understand that you have a relationship with each of these voices. And just like any relationship that you value, the more time, effort, energy, and communication you have with that voice, the better you are able to understand it, recognize it, and never doubt it.
I just recently, well, I've been reading it here a little bit. A while ago, I had Michael Wilson on, and Michael has written a book about Celtic mythology, and he's a retired psychologist and psychiatrist over in the UK. And he talked about the different voices that we do have, the innate voices that are within our being. I appreciate your way of looking at this, Rachel, because we think about the different voices, and you do have a heart voice, a gut voice, a body voice, a people voice, and we think about these things. And I think sometimes it's just a matter of our being more aware and more connected with ourselves around us. And when I say connected, I'm holding it up for her benefit, everyone. But connected does not necessarily mean connected to my iPhone. Connected does not necessarily mean, even though we're doing a miraculous thing here, you're in Boca Raton, I'm in Western North Carolina through Zoom. That's connected. But the other connections are so important to us, and that is when we get into our heart, we get into our gut, we get into our body, and we think about the people. How many times have we heard the statement, there are no mistakes as far as people we come in contact with, because they're always here for a reason. So let's maybe go down the list. Um, what's the best way to really start that connection, do you think, with our sixth sense? There are some possibilities, but I want to see what your thoughts are on that.
We always start with the breath, Kevin.
Okay.
Always. Always. I want you to think of your breath as the tool that's going to get you back to you, back in your body. Give you that clarity, that pause. I call it a pause for peace sometimes. Just by taking a couple deep breaths, we can feel the energetic return to ourselves. And this is the place that we want to exist before we take action. Okay, so we all know what it feels like to get triggered or jolted or feel outside of ourselves. The breath is going to bring you always back to you. So that is your starting place, whether you are trying to connect with yourself, spending time with yourself, whether you are sitting in traffic, whether your mind is telling you something that you just have had enough of hearing about, when your body is setting an alarm to say, hey, this requires your attention and your focus. We always want to revert to the breath. So if you are ever at a total loss, as to what you can do or how you can do it, you take a couple deep breaths. That's
Mm.
it. You take a couple deep breaths. So your breath is a powerful common sixth sense tool that you are underutilizing.
Mm.
Okay. So we came with this incredible force of life. I mean, our breath is literally keeps us alive. We take our first breath, we take our last breath, we breathe 20,000 times a day, every day in between. And yet we don't even give it the value it deserves. And so I would encourage people to, if you want to have common sixth sense tools, you want to start with the breath. Just breathe. Get back in yourself first. We are on hyperdrive. Our pace
Mm-hmm.
of is increasingly faster and faster and faster. And we are, as human beings and spiritual beings, we are trying to keep up with a pace we are not designed for.
Mm.
So if you ever want to reconnect with yourself, slow down, get back in your own body before you take action, all you have to do is breathe.
So you've really piqued my curiosity now because I never thought of it that way, but it's absolutely right. Even when I do guided meditation, when I do hypnotherapy with people, how do I start? I usually start with the breath, and the breath connects us. When we have a group that meets weekly on YouTube and also through what we call the hearth in the Druidry. And we often talked about going into our spiritual grove, and that spiritual grove is our imagination. And how do we begin that process? We begin by taking breaths. And
Mhm.
the timeliness of this again is phenomenal, Rachel, because it's a very thing that I am talking about even in some other work that I'm doing. How we miss the breath. I talked about how we have breath in the work of Qigong, for an example. And Qigong, breath go together hand in hand. But now I'm hearing that breath too is a tool of the sixth sense, a tool. How many tools do you suppose we have for the sixth sense, Rachel?
Have a lot of tools, but there's several, a handful that I focus on, just to keep people going down, a path of self-connection for those. And this is for, by the way, this is for anybody. So when we talk about things like breath work or even meditative type things, it can overwhelm a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't feel comfortable initially, or they don't have the time commitment, or whatever their individual reasonings are. But we can all relate to breathing. Breathing is for everybody, and it's something that is we have access to every second of every day. So there's so much power in that. But when we think about other tools, we think about our ability to manage energy. So
Mm-hmm.
stay with me for a second on this. This is another one of those common sixth sense tools that is hidden so far down in our toolbox. We all know what energy feels like, right? We all
Mm-hmm.
know like to be too hot, too cold, upset, happy, sad. Somebody said something, somebody did something. Our body is speaking to us and sending us lots of different messages about how it currently feels. Is it hungry? Is it tired? Does it have extra surplus of energy? So we all know what energy is, and energy, without getting too technical, is everywhere, and energy is everything. So I came up with this equation based off of Einstein's theory of relativity, which is E equals mc squared, which we're all familiar with. We're going to go back to high school physics for a minute.
Okay.
But I call it the theory of volatility. How volatile are you when energy affects you? So E is energy, that's our own, that's energy from people, environments, technology. Now we're at the M. M is my management or my mismanagement of that energy. And now we're at C squared equals my calm or my chaos. So, very simply stated, energy coming into me or existing within me, how I manage or mismanage that energy determines my calm or my chaos. Period. End of story. It is that simple. How volatile are you? Can you manage energy? So having common sixth sense skills means you've got to be able to manage energy. And I would take it a step further and say, not only does it affect my calm or my chaos, but my management or mismanagement of energy has an effect on the people and the environments around me and their calm or their chaos unless they have their own energy management system, and so on and so forth.
That's a concept that I love because I've often shared in workshops that energy is energy. It's neither positive nor negative. It's both and it's neither. And it only becomes one or the other when it comes in contact with us or it comes in contact with someone around us. And that can be when it becomes positive or negative.
So well said. Absolutely. We have to think about taking and accepting personal responsibility for energy management. But what we do, and this is a current, I call it a current connection crisis. And I've been talking to people for over 20 years, and they feel disconnected. We have more resources than ever. And one contributing factor, a big contributing factor to why they feel so disconnected is because they have given their power of energy management away. They expect other people to behave differently so their energy can be better managed. They expect their environments they come in contact with to behave differently so they can have better energy management, and technology as well. And when we reclaim that sense of personal responsibility, which is another common sixth sense skill, taking ownership, claiming responsibility. I am solely responsible for managing my energy. We become empowered, Kevin. We reclaim all of that energy that is mindlessly distributed without our consent. And we start to create better energetic boundaries to say, you know what, I if I contribute this amount of energy, it's because I desire to. If I do not contribute a certain amount of energy, it's because that's a conscious choice. So we really take back that power of our inner voice to show us what resonates and what doesn't. So we're not focusing from this energetically depleted state. We have a surplus of energy to distribute at our discretion.
Okay, so what I'm hearing too is when we think about making our choices energetically, and we talk about the resonation involved, and we take it down to a base level. How does it feel in your gut? How do you feel about doing that particular thing that someone maybe has volunteered you for or has come up with an opportunity for you? And we want everything right now. We want all the answers right now. And this is going to say, not necessarily right now. Let me think about it. There's a concept. Let me check in with myself. Let me check in with my sixth sense. Let me check in with my gut. Let me check in with my heart. Let me check in with all these different points to see, does this make sense for you? And does it make sense for me? If it doesn't, it's okay. No foul, no problem. It just doesn't work. I have been doing body work as well for, years and years and years. And, there are times, Rachel, when someone comes in, I work with them a little bit, and you know something? It just doesn't fit. And I can react to that in a couple of different ways. I can react to it and say, of all the nerve, I gave my best and they didn't like it. Shame on them. I don't like them anyway. That's one response. Another response would be, what did I do wrong? How did I mess up? How did I do? What can I do? Can I do this better? Did I screw up someplace? And, it could be something very simple. It just doesn't fit. And that's okay, right? You,
That's absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think the key words are, is it in alignment?
yes.
resonate. And when we think about the sheer amount of human beings, 8 billion, um, we don't all listen to the same song, and we don't need to. And I think that people can get very hyper fixated when energies don't align.
Yeah.
And I would even argue that they will tend to go to war with a person within themselves as to why there's a disconnect instead of just accepting that we all don't listen to the same song. And that's okay. And they don't need to listen to your song, and you don't need to listen to their song. That's not your life's work, and life's path is not about being in alignment with everyone and everything. That's an impossibility.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suppose I'll throw in that one little thing for me is that one of the things that attracted me to Druidry is there's no dogma. You know, you just kind of go with the flow of it.
Yeah.
And you've heard it if you've listened to my program. You know that one of my sayings that I love is if you get 12 druids in a room, you're going to have 15 opinions. And
Right.
that but I is it, we see that we pick on a druid that way, but how many times can we actually say that in life in general? If we have a group of a bunch of people, if we don't have to have a bunch of people, you and I can get in a room and I'll bet you we're not going to agree on everything. And that's okay, because I'm not you and you're not me. And what we do understand is we can also have a way of communicating on what I like to look at as common ground. And we can bind through that common ground. And that's kind of listening to that sixth sense, isn't it? And actively listening to someone rather than trying to think of what do I want to say next? I'm not listening to you, but what do I want to say next? It's my way of putting into this conversation. And that's not necessarily the proper way. It's not necessarily, it isn't the proper way. It's the way I look at it. Because take the time, take a couple of breaths, and listen to what the person is saying. You might learn something. What a novel concept that would be.
Exactly. I think that connection and being present is not without its humbling moments. If we want to live a connected life, then we have to learn from each other.
Hmm.
So, like, do you want to be right, or do you want to grow and evolve and find connection with another human being? So, it's a mindset, it's a perspective. And I often use like a wave analogy. If we think about, for example, if we don't agree with somebody and we're in a conversation, we can take the hit from the wave, or we can avoid it altogether because it's just, it's better that way if we pretend it's not there. Or we can skillfully, energetically navigate it.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe we do that by choosing our words carefully, or showing compassion for the other person, or clearly, from a present state of mind, stating our opinion and perspective. So we're always like these skilled surfers trying to navigate these waves in our life, and we have to decide what do we want to stop taking hits from, what do we want to stop avoiding, and what would it feel like if we could gracefully navigate it or dive into it and come out the other side unscathed.
Hmm. And you know what keeps running through my mind is a rip current.
Right. And we do
And
fall in sometimes, don't we?
yeah, yeah. And a rip current, if you don't know how to, and using your terminology, if you don't navigate it properly, you're going to be in big trouble. And everyone wants to fight the rip current when they're getting into it. And how many times have we heard the people, in all sorts of media and books and everything else, the way that you work around, if I can, a rip current is to go diagonal to it, not fight it. Because if you try to fight it, you're going to wear yourself out and probably drown. So, and I
Exactly.
think we could have the same thing, I believe, in this. And I love your analogy of a wave. That's great. That really brings it in. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're living on the coast of Florida.
Might have something to do with that.
Yeah.
But I think the point is that you must have an energetic management system. And if I were to ask people listening, What is your energetic management system? A lot of people are stumped right now.
So give us an idea. Give us
Well,
an example.
go in with a plan. Let's talk about a situation where we have to interact with a negative coworker or family member or have a difficult conversation. You always want to protect yourself first. So you create your own formula. A lot of in my book, I talk about creating your own formula because my formula won't necessarily work for you and vice versa. But we always want to protect ourselves first. Maybe you envision a beautiful white light around you. Maybe you take a moment to take a couple deep breaths and energetically prepare yourself. Maybe you've had a conversation with yourself beforehand where you have set a boundary. I will spend 15 minutes talking to this person and then I will move it along. So you go in as a proactive participant.
Mm.
Okay. And so there are always ways to protect ourselves in the moment. Um, there's something that I call a door. I'll teach you the doorway is anytime we enter a doorway, we have an opportunity for an energetic reset. This could be a micro habit someone could develop, going into a meeting, going into someone's home, going into a party. When I cross that doorway, it reminds me that I just have to take a moment within myself, whether it's a breath. I love visualization, so maybe you visualize the beautiful white light surrounding you, going within you, outside of you. Maybe you imagine all the stress and anxiety that you feel in your body traveling down your legs, through your feet, into the earth. You create your own formula. But that doorway is a reminder that you always have an opportunity to shift your energy at any given moment. So we go in with a proactive action plan that is going to protect ourselves energetically. I use an air filter analogy. So if you're in a conversation with someone and you haven't properly prepared yourself, you want to move all that negative energy out of your body as you feel it. Of course, we start with what do we start with, Kevin? Always
Breath.
the breath. We always start with the breath. Yes.
I won. I got it.
Breathe, breathe. We always start with the breath. So again, that's going to be very grounding for you, for any person in real time. But we've been here before. That's the thing is people will repeatedly tell stories about their negative interactions with others. There has to be an energetic shift within that person if they want anything to change.
Mm.
So we have to lose those expectations that others are going to shift their energy for us. They are not. We must shift it for ourselves.
Yeah, that's a big one. To go in with the idea that I'm going to shift everybody's energy. Change your own perspective, change our perspective. How do I want to do this? What are my desires? You know, work through your management of your energy accordingly. Yeah.
Exactly. Energy management.
Yeah. So your book itself, you touched on it in the beginning, and it's kind of a culmination of what I'm hearing for all the years you've been doing this. You've been seeing maybe some patterns and some things you've been working with people, and kind of brought it about. How long ago did you publish the book?
The book came out on November 11th, 11/11, so just a few weeks ago.
Perfect. And um, how I'm going to guess, I certainly know it's on your website. I've seen it on your website. So is it like on Amazon? Is it like all the different retailers and so forth?
Yes, exactly. On Amazon, retailers, you can find me in most places where people sell books.
Okay. Tell us maybe a synopsis of the book a little bit.
The book is designed very consciously and purposefully to um, walk readers through a journey. And I'm there with them all along as a coach, a mentor, and a friend, exposing them to tools, techniques, vignettes, personal stories, contemplative exercises, and questions. And it's really a roadmap that leads them back to themselves. So it is very much designed to be a reunion with the self. So I felt I was in a bit of a conundrum when I started writing because we have more resources than we ever have had for self-help, self-development. Yet I collectively hear from people that they are not getting what they need. So I wanted to create a resource that would be something that most people, whether you're a newbie or you've dabbled in these concepts in your life before, could find value out of. And not only did I want to create an exceptional book that could redefine someone's life and relationship with themselves, but I wanted it to be a resource they could keep going back to. So, Common Sixth Sense is really something that you can use for years to come to reflect on, to open a random page, to reread a chapter, to remind yourself of the power that you have within and how to use it in your daily life.
Okay, so does it follow a chronological order as far as you need to begin at chapter one and go all the way through to the end, or is it something you can pick up and you can just get bits and pieces through it? I'm guessing the latter.
The latter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first half is really laying a lot of the framework with the tools and stuff, but it does have some personal stories in there and perspectives. And then it gets very self-reflective from then on.
Okay, so within the context of the book itself, then do you have like I'm going to say almost like assignments or things like that that you can do or assignments that you would give yourself to help improve yourself that's within the book?
Yeah, but it's all done in real time. So, and they're quick and they are user friendly and they keep people moving along.
Okay. So if someone's feeling stagnated, they just need to move along.
As a matter of fact, I have some encouraging comments in there. Keep reading, keep going, take a breath, and stay with me, so that we can get through this together. It's sort of like a passing of the baton, Kevin, is how I would describe it. Is
Mhm.
like I'm gonna lead you, and then I'm gonna pass the baton to you, and you'll be ready when I do.
That's great. That's a good way of looking at it. That's very helpful to me anyway, the way I like to see stuff. And that is it's encouraging too because a lot of times when I've worked with folks in the past, it's going to be a process and sometimes you're going to maybe get discouraged in that process. But the name of the thing is take a breath and keep going because it is better.
And I had a conversation with someone over the weekend. And she was asking me about the book, and she said, "Is this another book that's going to make me feel bad about myself?" And I said, "It is the exact opposite of that. It is a book that's going to recognize that you are authentically you, whether you read this book or not, whether you listen to this podcast or not. That longing, that missing piece is so often just a reconnection with the self. I mean, again, I this is a reunion. We've been here before. We came like this. We have just suppressed
Hmm.
this relationship, this relationship with our inner voice, our intuition, our guiding light, our most skilled navigator. It has been a bit forgotten, and
Okay.
this book is about remembering it.
And that's saying a lot too with just the reunion with ourselves. And we said it earlier, didn't we, about all the connections we have around us nowadays. I've been around long enough to remember that I felt like I was really uptown when I had a CB radio in my car. you know, and now we have a cell phone. And do you leave home without your cell phone?
I definitely don't leave home without my cell phone, but I do try to have pretty strong boundaries when I use it.
Excellent. Yeah. Because I alluded to this recently. I'm going to say it again for a reason that I had someone come in not too long ago and they said that they recently took a took a holiday to Portugal, and they were either in the airport or they are on the plane, one of the two, and they realized they left their phone at home.
Mm.
And they said, "Oh my gosh, I left my phone at home." And then they said again, "Oh my gosh, I left my phone at home." You know, and they said it was the best 10 days they ever had. If funny thing with all the technology we have out there, do you know that if someone wants to get in touch with us, they will. They'll figure it out, you know? But letting something like that go and reconnecting with ourselves, taking the breath and saying, I really need to slow down for just a minute and just breathe and take in what's around me. And I talk about that from the natural standpoint. My connection is I go outside in the woods. I go outside in my grove out beside the house, and I'll sit there and I'll listen and I'll look, and I just take in the natural senses around me. So that's my thing. If I feel like it, and I think that's part of it too, isn't it? That Rachel, that we feel, and you talked about the gut voice. If that gut is feeling tight, if you are feeling overwhelmed, that's a time to definitely take a breath.
Mm. It's a time to take a breath and just spend that quality time with yourself. You have to nurture the relationship with yourself like you would nurture any other relationship. And our quality, healthy relationships, we give our time, we give our attention, our energy to those relationships. And yet we fall short when it comes to the relationship with ourselves. And it doesn't require that much time. I would challenge anybody listening to just spend 5 minutes a day sitting with themselves and get reacquainted. Don't have
Mm.
an expectation, just time with you and see what thoughts, feelings, perspectives surface during that time. And, I love your connection with nature. That's very relatable to me. I have to get outside every single day and recharge.
Mm.
So we need to ask ourselves, what does my recharge look like? And how can I incorporate that into my daily life so that it becomes a lifestyle, not something that I do on a random Thursday every so often, but something that I'm proactively participating in because I know myself well
Mm.
enough to know that I need that. And that is the key. You already know. You already know. Your body will tell you, your mind, well, sometimes it's accurate. Uh, Same with your heart. But if something is speaking to you, if something is pulling you, resonating with you, feels like it's in alignment with you, feels like a need that's coming from within, from that beautiful soul spirit voice, you need to follow that lead. That's you advocating quite literally for you.
And just be quiet long enough to listen.
Yeah, and it just takes a few minutes. I mean, if you think about how that just seems like common sense that we
Mhm.
should spend a few minutes with ourselves.
And do it. That's the other part. Don't think about it. Do it.
Well, awareness is one thing, but action is everything.
Absolutely. We've talked about that in other scenarios as well, that it's one thing to talk about, it's one thing to have the book knowledge, it's one thing to have all the information that's available. If you don't put it into practice, it's not doing any good. So you need to put it into practice, and it doesn't take that much effort, does it?
It,
It's
it really doesn't. It is minimal. When things are in alignment, there is minimal energetic output from us.
yeah,
We
how do
don't
you
have to work that hard.
yeah,
We work so hard entangling ourselves in things that don't energetically align. And when we are in alignment, we don't work that hard.
no, no. And another one that's coming to mind is, and we both know it, and everyone is acquainted with it at some level or another, and that is traffic on the highway. And how often do we hear about people with road rage, and how often do we get behind a wheel and we look at our time and we say, I gotta get there, I gotta get there, I gotta get there. And something interesting thing is if you just drive a normal speed, flow of traffic or whatever, people are going to go by you. That's just the way it is. They're in a hurry. I don't know their story. They might actually have a bona fide emergency. And for me to be the jerk and not let them by, that's another story in and of itself. But be aware enough of what I'm doing, take a breath, breathe, and just enjoy the ride. Be aware, don't be stupid. Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of everything around you, but don't take it so personal that if you don't get there right on time, the whole world's going to come to an end. It probably won't. I hate to tell you that, but if you get there 5 minutes late, the world is not going to end. You just think it is.
Exactly. Traffic is such a relatable energy surge for people. So if we think about sitting in traffic, get the energy out of you. I don't care where it goes. Healthily get it out of you. Put it into your steering wheel, put on a song that you love and sing. Come prepared. This is being a proactive participant. Have a snack, have a drink, have your favorite podcast queued up. Go in with an energetic action plan. And when you feel jolted during driving and sitting in traffic, which is something we all deal with every single day, you better have a plan in place because otherwise that energy just gets entrapped in you and it comes out in other ways. Maybe you internalizing it, maybe you project, maybe you continue the storyline on to your five coworkers who aren't interested, and so on and so forth. So it's having that energetic action plan. Again, this seems like common sense, but yet we don't. We get furious, infuriated, project, yell and scream, or worse. So you make a great point when you talk about time and if you show up a few minutes late. One mantra that I like to use a lot when I'm in the car is just, it's not worth it. And what I mean is, it's energetically not worth it. People are too unpredictable in those types of situations. And again, we have to take accountability for our own energy. And, maybe sometimes it does feel good to get all that trapped energy out and yell and scream in your car. I don't know, whatever works for you. You've got to find your formula, but it needs to be a healthy outlet.
Yes, underscore that. A healthy
Underscore.
outlet. Beating on the steering wheel, maybe, but you're going to hurt your hand or something. I am curious. I want to back up just 1 second while it's on my mind. You started talking about the tools of a sixth sense. And are there several tools that you actually discuss in the book as well, so that people have an idea about that?
Absolutely. So I discuss anything from the Einstein's
Mhm.
theory that I explained to you. I talk about the five voices that we briefly discussed and how to
Hmm.
navigate those. I also have a technique called jolt to action when we get jolted or triggered or hit by a wave. What do we do instead of reacting step by step? So yeah, there
Yes.
are there are lots of tools and perspectives, thought-provoking concepts that will get people working on their own secret formula for a more connected and authentic life. I think that generally people feel like they are living their life, and there is not necessarily anything wrong with the way people are living their life, but they do feel like there's something else trapped within them that's trying to get its way out. And I describe that as the more connected, authentic existence. And so the goal is to participate in your life in a way that you are getting to experience whatever is trying to get its way out, that allows you for deeper connection and more authentic living.
So, switching one more time, you've written the book,
Yes.
you've been a coach for many, many years. What do you do now? do you have your coaching practice still in work? And do you see people on a regular basis? Do you like to talk with people virtually? Do you see them in person? There's a lot of questions there, so let's just start. Do you have a practice now that you're doing?
I do. I have a practice and kind of all of the above. I'm a community fellow at Florida Atlantic University. So I integrate mindfulness into the curriculum. So I do a lot of work with grad students, undergrad students, faculty, administration. So anything from speaking educational events to co-teaching the criminal justice graduate students, helping them prepare more mindfully for their research thesis presentation. So I wear a lot of different hats, but I my true love is just working, sitting down with somebody and
Okay.
helping them.
So you're available to do that, and you're available to do it. Doing it this way through Zoom or something like that, as well as doing it face to face?
Exactly. Yeah. If you're local, we can get together face to face, but I have a lot of clients from around the United States, so we do a lot of virtual. And some of my older clients really just like to talk on the phone. So I'm here to honor whatever resonates for somebody.
Okay, that works. And all the information, conveniently so, everyone is on her website, and her website is, that's your cue.
Common Six, that's SIXTH.com.
Okay, that's really hard to remember. Common6th.com. So, you know what's coming. What do you do to create a better life for yourself?
Well, I feel like I have created a lifestyle that keeps me constantly working towards that better life. It keeps that energy in motion. So from waking up and setting an intention for the day and just having a moment to appreciate that I've been given another day, for me really sets the tone for my entire day. And I always spend my mornings with my dogs, Fleetwood and Mac.
Great names. That's
Yeah.
great. Sorry, go ahead.
So we walk and I spend some time with them and I get outside in this beautiful weather we have here in South Florida. And throughout the day, I always make sure that I prioritize my health and well-being, and that I put my energy into the right people that are in alignment with my most connected and peaceful life, which is my children, my husband, my parents, my in-laws, my closest friends, and other family members. And I make sure that if I'm not connecting one-on-one with them, on, say, a phone call, that they are in my thoughts, that I am energetically connecting to them. And I'm very selective about who I surround myself with and my time, because I am involved in many different things, that I try to be conscientious that I am spending an appropriate amount of time before that depletion starts to kick in so that I can reserve it. So I feel like I work towards a better life always because of my mindset. Life is good regardless of what I've been through in my life. I view life as good as an opportunity. So I've tried to adapt these lifestyle habits that carry over from one day to the next, as I'm always working towards a better life for myself and my family as well.
Okay. I think if we could surround the podcast just with that statement and just apply it to our own selves. That's some great guides, especially Fleetwood and Mac. I think that's awesome. What are Fleetwood and Mac? I'm curious. What?
So, okay, so they're both rescues, but Mac, we found They found it, a rescue group found it at a truck stop, and he had been hit by a truck. So we named him Mac, like after the Mac truck. And then we began this quest of finding our Fleetwood that lasted a couple of years. And at the time, we were living in Texas, and my husband was driving home in the middle of nowhere on a Texas highway, and they had this ice storm. It was very desolate. And there was this dog, and that is our Fleetwood. So divine intervention.
There you go.
But they're both like 80-pound, mutts that are just the cutest, sweetest, fiery balls of energy. Max 12, Fleetwood's 7. So they're just, our band is complete.
There you go. That's great. Are there any last thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners for today? Closing thought?
I would like to share a message with your listeners about continuing to find their secret formula, that you should never, ever stop. If something doesn't resonate, it's because it doesn't resonate. Move along. Do not get stuck in the energetic trap of retelling the story that something doesn't resonate. Move along and find something that does. And this is going to enhance your life tenfold. It's going to bring you peace, it's going to bring you clarity, and it's going to keep you in a strong relationship with that inner voice. Do not go to war and have battles with things that don't resonate. Put your energy into the things that do.
That sums it up. Thanks ever so much. And just a reminder, everyone, all of the information contacting Rachael is going to be in the show notes, as well as links for her website and links for purchasing the book. So thanks ever so much, Rachael. I really do appreciate you sharing with us today on Toward a Better Life. This has been a wonderful experience. Thank you.
It was wonderful, Kevin, and thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Deep peace of the running wave to you, where the surf rolls in with a silver blue hue. Let the waters touch, make your heart feel anew. Deep peace to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you, like the morning breeze that awakens the day. Let it lift your heart, let it whisper you through. Deep peace to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you, in the still of night, in the morning soft dew. Let the roots hold strong, let the earth cradle you. Deep peace to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you, guiding every step in the dark velvet blue. May their silver light be a blessing for you. Deep peace to you. Deep
Well, that's our show for this week, and that was Awenfire with Deep Peace to You. Awenfire is an artist-producer who blends ancient wisdom with modern songcraft. Also, thanks again to Rachael Schmidt for helping us to look a little deeper into our sixth sense in this episode. You can learn more about this and much more about Rachael and her work by connecting with her. There are links in the show notes for both Rachael as well as Spiral Dance and Awenfire in the show notes. Lastly, as always, don't forget a very special thanks to you, dear listener, for tuning into the program Toward a Better Life. Remember, if you're seeking insights and advice on how to create that better life for yourself, and if you'd like to dive into self-care, self-development, experience hypnotherapy, distant shamanic work, Reiki, drop me a line, kevin@towardabetterlife.com, for details on your free discovery call. In that call, we can discuss your goals, set some plans for achieving them, and moving forward with your journey toward a better life. You can also visit my website, towardabetterlife.com, for past episodes, blog entries, ways to enhance your spiritual journey, and upcoming events. Please subscribe and follow to Toward a Better Life through your favorite podcast platform, and leave the review on Apple, Spotify, Overcast, whatever podcast platform you might be using. It helps to spread the word about the program and help create a better life. Always remember, if you'd like to share your music, story, prose, or the like, if you want to be my guest, please write to me, kevin@towardabetterlife.com. That's kevin@towardabetterlife.com. Till next week, enjoy the beginnings of the winter solstice and enjoy your journey toward a better life.